Hi, Statesmen Nation. We're welcoming in head women's bowling coach Kirsten Foster as we get ready for the 2023-2024 season. Coach, before we talk about this coming season, let's recap last year. Another opportunity to go to nationals and put yourselves up against the best out there. Tell me how you felt, the good, the bad, and the ugly of last year.
Yeah, I think last year the girls started off really strong. And I think going into the second half of the season, there was a lot of expectations.
Right.
Not just from outside, but, internally as well.
Sure.
We gunning for that conference championship, gunning for NAI nationals, gunning for ITC nationals.
Sure.
And I think ultimately at the end of the season, there was a lot of talks, because I think there was some disappointment. It was a very strong team last year. It was a very well-rounded team, and not many teams can say that. Most have your solid five, and then beyond that, it's you never know what you're going to get. And we had the luxury of having, I had 10 girls I had to pick 8 from, and it's so we had that luxury, and then we just didn't quite hit the mark.
Right.
Conference championship went 13 games, which is insane.
Yeah.
It's a long match.
Yeah.
It's essentially 2 matches in one. And then, we go to NAI Nationals, and all of those matches were hard fought, took every single one to 5 games. And, so I think there was a lot of high hopes going into it, and ultimately ended with some disappointments, but there was a lot of learning that went with it.
Yeah.
And I think that was something we had discussed with the team, was learning to manage those expectations and not get ahead of ourselves. And so, this year we're returning a good chunk of that class that was there and that team. And so learning to manage those expectations and not falling to that pressure was kind of the goal going into the summer and coming into this season.
Sure, definitely. Talk about off season, recruiting and just getting the team better, and obviously working on maybe the team chemistry, whatever you guys were doing in off season, getting ready for this year.
Yes, obviously off season, we're recruiting all year round.
Sure.
Bowling's one of those sports that it's not really dependent on the weather.
Yep.
You can bowl whenever you want. So always recruiting, always looking for those extra talents that we think might just offer something that we might be missing. But during the summer, we just kind of, at the end of the year, we had individual meetings with every girl and was like, hey, what are some things that you liked about the season? What are some feedback you can give us? Because I'm still learning as a coach, and it's the team culture is always changing. You have different personalities getting added to the mix. Their personalities are changing as they're going through life and learning new things. So, asking them for their feedback, and then we'd offer feedback, give them some things we would like them to work on over the summer and where we would like them to be when they come back. So, a lot of it dealt around mental game. Physical game, they're there. Maybe there might be a hiccup here or there, but we're human. It happens.
Yeah.
So really just focusing on that mental game, being more mentally prepared coming in, knowing that we're still returning some of those stronger athletes, and how we're going to manage that, because our expectations aren't changing.
Right.
We still want that conference title. We still want that NAIA berth. We still want the ITC berth. But how can we manage those better coming into the season? And everybody's going to manage it differently. Right. So really wanted them to do some self-reflection, and kind of help themselves, because, life's going to change for them. Their expectations are going to change, but those expectations are still there.
Right.
So kind of helping them also give those lifelong lessons.
Sure, definitely. All right, let's look at this roster, this team. Like you said, you got a bunch of returners back. So let's talk about the returners first, and then we'll dive into the newcomers.
Yeah, the returners, we're returning, probably let's say 4 or 5 that are coming in that were on varsity last year. So obviously Gabby Evans, key starter for us, and she's got a little bit more of a drive this year, final year. Maddie Ross, she was our quiet, good player. After at the end of the year when we looked over all of our stats, she headlined all but one.
Yeah.
And it was like, you never saw it from her because she was just consistent.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, consistency's good.
Sure. Yeah.
You
There
were
go.
consistently good. So good job. We got Sydney White Leathers coming back too. She had a great year last year coming in. She went from not just from JV to varsity, but she bowled a lot on varsity.
Yeah.
So, and she handled that very well. So expect to see a lot from her this year. Also have Caitlin Radliff.
Yeah.
She's our power player. If anyone's seen her bowl.
Yeah.
power is definitely her definition. So coming in, learning to control that power a little bit more.
Sure.
And then I think over the summer, Christy Motier's made a lot of stride with her game.
Great.
She was one that, she battled her way up to varsity, didn't maybe see a lot of playing time, but she took our end of the season talk last year very seriously and made some major improvements to her game that they probably feel small, but how they're showing on the lanes is huge.
Right.
So I'm expecting her to make some impact this year.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see what she does.
Awesome. All right, the newcomers then, people that are filling in some spots. Obviously, you did lose some to, that graduation attrition, but who's stepping up that, is new to the roster this year.
Yeah, so our big one is Samantha Myers. We recruited her from Rock Valley, and she went on to Rock Valley won the JUCO national title, and she swept the board on individual. She won singles. She took like first or second for doubles, and then their team won. She had a very just outstanding performance. And then her demeanor on the lanes, she is just very even-keeled, which is good. Sometimes we like to ride the highs, but we like to avoid the lows, and she's just she's constant, right? So it's when you watch her, you'll never know if she's having a good or bad game because she just keeps the same, which is very good when you have a high-energy team. So I'm expecting her to make a pretty decent impact. She did very well at trials, especially coming into a center that she didn't know anything about it, didn't know too many of the girls, so she'll do pretty well. Lucy, one of our freshmen, she comes to us from Washington, and she is one that I'm expecting to also kind of fly under the radar for a little while. She was one, she flew under the radar as a recruit, and I think that is an oversight from other coaches because she is a very talented individual. So we're just kind of tweaking a little few things on her game, but I expect to see her on the lanes this year too.
Okay. Anybody else? I don't want to cut you off.
No.
Where we're at? Okay. No, that's fine.
That's about where we're at for now.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, it's a season. It's a long season, so opportunities for people to hopefully continue to progress and all of that. So, all right, let's talk about the schedule. Looks fairly similar to what we've had in the past, highlighted by you get the Hoosier at the end of the year, you got the Las Vegas tournaments in December right before Christmas and all of that. But let's talk about some of the tournaments that you're really keying up on. Like, these are really important. This is where we're going to find out who we are.
Yeah, I would say, to start off our season, I think this is the toughest we've started, going back-to-back tier ones. Not too many teams do that. There's a few, but we chose that route because we see a lot of our conference teams. So we want to see where we stack up, kind of see how we start off on the fresh. But I think for the team, the turning point's always in Vegas. How do we handle Vegas? And then that's going to determine how we handle the rest of our year. We have some new NAI tournaments, which are always good. We'd like to see where we stack up, especially we have one in Joliet this year that a lot of your bigger NAI teams there. We're going to see, your St. Francis, your Baker, your Pikevilles. We're going to see those teams, and we're going to see where we stack up to them. I know some of them had solid recruiting classes, but they also lost some solid seniors, so it's always nice to see how those changes intermix with all the different teams. And then we have NAI regionals at the end of the year, more like towards February. And that one's going to be I think that one's going to be a good setting point to how conference is going to go. All of our conference teams are there. So I think that would be a good, and it's in the same center. So everyone's on the same playing field. So it'd be nice to see how we're going to stack up and kind of see what those final things we might need to change before we head into the conference tournament at the end of February.
Sure. Segue right into conference then. It's been you guys and Baker. Some other teams have been kind of there, but it's kind of been a two-team run there. You guys just got nipped last year, but then you did get them at NAI, so a little redemption. But how do you feel like the conference is stacking up this year? Without giving too much away.
I have my personal take, but I'm also a very superstitious person, and so I feel like if I say it out loud, I jinx it.
We're in the mix. Should I say that?
Yes.
We're in the mix.
We are definitely in the mix. I know a couple of teams have added some heavy hitters, but it takes 5 to bowl and win a title at least, if not all 8. So I like where my team stands currently, and that's as much as I will say on that.
No, that's great. Yeah, no, I 100% understand the superstition. All right, let's put a bow on the whole thing. Again, a lot of returners, but it sounds like we got some new pieces that are going to really add to the depth and everything. what's it going to take for the team to reach the goals that you guys have set?
I think it's just going to take for them to remember that they're a team. Remember that the expectations are something that we've set arbitrarily. They're not, you can't just grab them and hold them.
Yeah.
So remember, it's mentally who stays in it the longest, and that's what's going to get us to our goals, and that's what's going to get us to the end game. You know, avoiding, like, even if we don't quite figure it out right away at the start of the tournament, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And avoiding those panic moments, mentally staying calm, cool, collected. And so far we did like a 2-week trial process, and I've already seen significant improvement on that ground from the girls. So I think as long as they keep that in the forefront of their mind and remember that we're a team, we're all there to watch and help each other, I think it's going to be a great year. I have a lot of high hopes.
Awesome. Okay. Once again, Kirsten Foster of the women's bowling team. They open up on Saturday and Sunday, Midwest Collegiate Championship in Wisconsin. Great Tier 1 to open up. Long season ahead. End up in hopefully ITC in April. So best of luck, Coach. We'll be keeping tabs on them. Statesmenathletics.com, all of our social media channels as well, and make sure you download our app too. So, all right, Coach, best of luck this season.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.